So I'm going to talk today about ingredient decks. What I'm going to talk about is a little bit different than happy Halloween, a little different than how we are used to looking for things in ingredient deck, right? So we're used to looking for things that are toxic or, come up as clean. But there's so much more to an ingredient deck than just that. Of course, you don't want anything toxic in your ingredient deck, because it's not only bad for the skin, but it actually also is bad for the other ingredients. So there's multiple reasons why you would not want that. But it's really important about what you do want in an ingredient deck. We spend a lot of time now talking about, we have these apps out there, they're kind of rating ingredients, but they're not really looking at the deck as a whole. It can help you flag bad ingredients. I think anyone who's using a bad ingredient in their ingredient deck, bad meaning it hurts you or is a carcinogen, then you kind of have an idea about what the rest of the ingredient deck is about. So yes, it's always a great thing, but it's so much more than just that. Like you want for your body, think about that. We don't want to eat toxins. We don't want to breathe toxins and all that, but we also need a lot of other things to heal and to be healthy. So it's one element for sure, but there's a lot more to it in really looking at skin care and skin repair and skin health. So what we'll talk about right now is how do you look at a deck? So you have an ingredient deck. It usually is talking about one specific ingredient, and I think a lot of you might know, but it's usually not going to be the one ingredient alone that's going to cause something great for your skin, because every ingredient has a different reason for being. Depending on what you would build an ingredient deck for the particular concern, you would want those ingredients to work together to help that concern, drive down inflammation, bring these ingredients in that are known to be effective to heal the skin together. Two really important things I just mentioned. One would be drive down inflammation. So if you have an ingredient deck that has, everyone probably knows when you look at an ingredient deck, the top ingredients are the highest percentage. If you're looking at an ingredient deck and that top 5 ingredients are alcohol or derivative alcohol or something else inflammatory, you're inflaming the skin. So if the skin is inflamed, it's not going to be receptive to other ingredients, for one thing. But also think about those ingredients and what they're doing. If they're that high that they're listed top in the ingredient deck, think about what they're doing to the other ingredients in that ingredient deck. This one marvelous ingredient that you might have is actually destroyed by the high levels of alcohol. So you really have to question how these formulas are made and why. That's one thing. I'm just going to give you the high level what to look for in the efficacy of deck and how it's put together. So we just talked about inflammatory ingredients. We just talked about how high they are in the ingredient list. They really don't have a reason. You do not need to make a product that has alcohol at all. In fact, there's a lot of ingredients that are filler ingredients that are put in there to actually, it's more about the feeling of the product, which is kind of crazy because well put together ingredient decks feel great anyway. You don't need to. And those ingredients actually can be harmful, and they also can block the absorption of other ingredients like silicone, dimethicone, certain types of alcohol. So you want to look at how these ingredients are put together. That is how, and the reason why that's important is because they're going to deliver deep into the skin. So I'm not expecting everyone to be out there to know that rosehip, for instance, is a great, works in synergy with vitamin C to bring it down. I don't think that's a necessary element. It's great to know if you have the time to start researching what these ingredient synergies are that you actually find in our food. It's how our food is delivered to us. Our food isn't delivered with any type of thing to make it feel better, right? It's our food that heals us is delivered in the same way that our skin is healing. So it makes sense that you would look for the same types of things. Other things you're gonna try and avoid are sodium. Sodium hyaluronic acid is also sodium hyaluron. It's very disturbing to the skin. It might plump immediately, but it's not long-term. Oh my gosh, I'm missing questions today. This is my wheelhouse. This is where I come alive. I know and want everyone to know how an ingredient deck best works and how you want to put it together. I missed two questions already. Really sorry. I'm going to talk a little bit about also hydrogenated ingredients. Hydrogenation is a man-made, so one of the things you want to look for are silicone, dimethicone, high levels of inflammatory ingredients. You're also going to look for sodiums, not a good thing. You're also going to look for hydrogenated ingredients, and hydrogenated is man-made. So there's really no reason for hydrogenation in our food or our bodies. It's basically actually adding hydrogen into the formula. And we already banned trans fatty acids from the diet because we know our body doesn't work. So typically, if you want to develop and you want to heal the skin, avoid things that have numbers in it. Avoid things that say hydrogenated. Avoid sodium, avoid alcohols, if you can, especially high levels of alcohol. So I'm talking more about what to avoid, and it's really interesting because if you look at those apps where you go around and they're telling you what's toxic, what is known to cause cancer, basically, is what they're telling you. Great, that's wonderful. You should know that, and it has no reason to be in an ingredient deck for your skin or for the health of the other ingredients or the delivery of the ingredients. Really great antioxidants. We need that. You need to see. I also think a great litmus test is to look at the ingredient deck. Do you see vitamins? Do you see anything, healthy oils? Do you see anything of that nature and a decent level of it? Then they're not really thinking about the healing of the skin. I'm going to grab this question. What are your thoughts on fragrance? A man-made chemical fragrance, there's no reason for that. We use a natural fragrance. You can use hydrosols. You can use a lot of things to get a really great experience from it, but a chemical would hurt things. What vitamins should we look for? So I love that question. You want to look for, it depends on what this particular product is made to do. B vitamins in general are a good thing, and they're in multiple ways. They drive down inflammation. We talked about that. You need to drive down inflammation to bring in ingredients. Also, they bring in other ingredients, so they're cofactors. They're going to hop onto other certain ingredients and deliver them deeper into the skin where we know healing begins, and they heal. B vitamin's the #1 vitamin for protein repair. So you see it a lot in hair, you see it, but true believer, and for the most part, unless it's a cofactor with a different ingredient, you want to see a multitude of B vitamins working together. And one of the most, and obviously I'm a huge vitamin C lover. Vitamin C is needed, as I talked about in a different IG Live, it's needed to make collagen. So it's super helpful, and it's an antioxidant. To touch on beneficial ingredients for pregnancy. Beneficial ingredients are so much of what I'm saying. You want the body to heal. You don't want inflammation. You might want to, I'm talking about what you don't want. You want vitamins, you want healthy oils. You know, most things in skincare that are healing the skin are still healing the skin when you're pregnant. You do want to avoid a lot of acids. When you're pregnant, you're more susceptible to irritation. Your skin changes when you're pregnant. So you really want to patch test and see how you react to something on the back of your hand. If it has an acid in it, or you want to exfoliate, you can exfoliate really lightly with enzymes, which is a really probably while you're pregnant, a safer way to exfoliate. But you also, I'm going to go back to the ingredient deck also, that you're really trying to get the most out of it. Our skin heals like our body heals. So it makes complete sense. If you start listening to how I'm describing what you want from an ingredient deck, it starts to sound like what you want from your food. High levels of vitamins, high levels of healthy fats. You also want to look for uniquely things that actually heal the skin. So that would be like bioferments, reishi mushroom, really great hyaluronic acid. So our body has hyaluronic acid inside as well. But we know that we want to drive hydration to the skin with healthy hyaluronic acids, not sodium hyaluron. Sodium hyaluron is a sodium. It will puff the skin, just kind of like if you just eat a lot of salt, you just plump up, but you're not actually healing the skin. You're not actually bringing hydration to the skin. We talked about before, no trans fatty acids, no hydrogenated products, ingredients. You're again talking about man-made. What Cat Berkey products have the highest level of vitamins? I don't think there's one Cat Berkey product that doesn't have vitamins in it, first of all, which, believe it or not, is very unique. I'm so surprised sometimes to see how ingredient decks are built on a lot of stuff that's not maybe good for you or useful. Without the use, there's no vitamins too. Vitamins, as I was talking about before, bring in other ingredients. They also are extremely beneficial to creating collagen, to preventing skin disease and preventing skin cancer. So yes, we want to look for things that don't cause cancer, but you equally want to look for things that prevent cancer in the skin and give the skin the tools it needs to keep itself healthy. We also want to look at the biome level, which is really pretty new for scientists and skincare products. So a lot of these skincare products, PEGs, silicone, dimethicone, alcohols, they're irritating the biome. So they are actually causing a disproportionate biome activity and microbe level. So you also want to look for vitamins for that reason. Vitamins are extremely important to get your body, your skin, your biome to actually protect itself and to regulate oil production. You also want to really generally, I know I was just talking about this, I touched this for pregnancy, but you also want to regularly exfoliate the skin. So we have the ability, just like we want to keep our gut healthy, if our gut is healthy, it's going to process food better, our whole body's going to be healthy, we're going to actually have better moods, we're actually going to function better. So in a similar way, regularly exfoliating is super important to the skin. Our skin is constantly renewing. You want to get these dead skin cells out of there to give the new cells, like new leaves coming out on a plant, you want to give these new cells the ability to come through. And you also want to feed them. So that's where all these great other ingredients would be to actually get these skin cells reinvigorated, coming back out alive and new and better, and then you want to feed them in every which way you can through vitamins. A lot of people talk about oil, so you don't want them. You just don't. There's no reason for being. It would be like, how do I deliver this great food to you with a bunch of fillers in it? It just doesn't make sense. Just gonna sum up, because I think this is so important for people. Look at the top few ingredients. Is it alcohol, alcohol, alcohol? It's going to hurt you. It's going to actually inflame the skin. You're not gonna absorb anything else. And of course, it's killing everything else. You also want to look for ingredient matching and pairing. I don't think that science needs to be, everyone has to know that, but you're really a well thought out ingredient deck if you're looking at that science. You also want to look at things that are blocking absorption because you're not getting anything from it. If you have silicone dimethicones, hydrogenation, I just said, I'm just giving you things that you can look, if you look at an ingredient deck, it has a lot of numbers in it. It doesn't need to. Numbers don't belong. It's a man-made ingredient. Or if it has hydrogenated, man-made, you don't want that. The body doesn't recognize that. It can, trans fats were actually banned because they created free radical damage. So the whole purpose of skincare is to drive down inflammation and to prevent free radical damage, which is when the cells that's when you start to see cancer. You want to give it as I said, you don't see these apps that are looking for what's going to be an antioxidant and what's going to keep my skin protected. So they're very also natural. The natural question comes up a lot with me. What are your thoughts on natural? So I think, I always say, well, grass is natural, but that's not enough either. So I think if you're really thoughtful and you're getting, just like if you go to the grocery store, I'm going to buy an organic product over this but I think it's more how you're building this ingredient deck, what ingredients are in there than any of those types of questions. I don't think it's enough. I don't think non-toxic is enough. I think it's a no-brainer. Like, of course it shouldn't be toxic. You're not going to heal the skin with toxicity or anything that would cause inflammation in the skin. So I think I've been talking, this is definitely my wheelhouse, so I had no problem talking nonstop for a half hour so far. I'm gonna leave it to you, a little bit of questions if you like. What is your favorite ingredient to hydrate? Is petroleum something that we should avoid in skin creams? Yes. I mean, would you eat it? No. It is, not only is it basically, you know, a chemical, but it also is something that blocks ingredients. It's an irritant and it blocks and it just sits on the skin. Litmus test, always put something on your skin and see how fast it actually absorbs. If it absorbs quickly, your body recognizes it. It doesn't have a lot of those ingredients in it. If it sits for a long time, a lot of people think that's a good thing, but it's not, because we want to heal. You might want to protect the skin. So an oil would be great to use as a finish, lock in everything, but and typically you want everything to be, you would want everything to be absorbed as much as possible, because that's where we heal. We don't heal, you want your biome healthy, but we actually heal deep within the skin. I just lost a question. What was it? Is my favorite way to hydrate. I like botanical hyaluronic acid. I think it works extremely well. Vitamin C, obviously, it has a hydration. B vitamin, you want to give it as I said, you don't see these apps that are looking for what's going to be an antioxidant and what's going to keep my skin protected.